Still with me, Property Smart Talk with Ronny Wuisan. Bill, Indonesia, Indonesian people, the local people still prefer landed house comparing to the apartment. But they realize that the landed is getting more expensive in Indonesia.
Yes.
From your perspective, you live in Singapore, where land is also expensive. Do you think city like Indonesia or Surabaya, the main city, the primary city or secondary city in Indonesia, will be more like Singapore or Hong Kong, where people have to accept they will have to live in Jakarta in order for them to stay within the central business district? Or do you see that it's just a matter of a short-term trend?
I think that is inevitable as land prices go up, that we can only build up. As land gets more scarce, as the city gets more congested, we would have to build up. KLBs would have to increase.
Yep.
And we're even seeing that in Singapore now. As we master plan the city, KLBs and plot ratios would actually increase. And that's for the specific reason that land will always be getting more and more scarce as the population increases. So yes, I do think that is apartments are here to stay. I think why Indonesians previously or historically has preferred land more is because
land is so much
available. It's available, but you can also touch and feel it. You can also touch and feel land. You can actually have a land title, and to them that's valuable. And they were never very familiar and used to the strata title concept. So apartments has been actually a very recent phenomenon.
10 years?
10 years, 15 years. But I think that over time, as the concept of strata title becomes a norm, people will never even question and say that this is a very, very normal title, like it is in Singapore. And there is value in a strata title. And I think that if more and more people get past that concept or get used to that concept, then they would see that there are a lot of benefits living in apartments, not just because of pricing, but because of the benefits, the convenience, the security, the views, the amenities that apartments offers buyers.
Part of the lifestyle also.
Part of the lifestyle as well.
Okay. So, Bill, you have a lot of, once again, you have a lot of exposure on the international property, international market. You're coming from Singapore, where the city is well managed, well structured.
Yes.
Now, Indonesia is very much lag behind on this. Where do you think we lag behind in terms of the way we run things and then developing so-called a city, the right city?
Sure. I think that you're talking about the built environment, and I'm sure you've traveled. So when you compare Jakarta to a city like Sydney or a city like San Francisco or Tokyo or London, which one would you say is a nicer built environment? So the built environment consists of, I think, a macro environment and a micro environment. Macro meaning the city planning. And I think that's one thing that Indonesia is lacking. There's no city planning here. There's an urban guideline that has not been enforced until recently when Jokowi has come into power. So I think that's a good change where a park, a space, area in the city zone for a park would actually be built, not an office building. And I think that's very, very important to have urban planning, more parks, more public facilities, and integrate it into public transportation systems like the MRT, and all of that is coming. And so I think that yes, it's a very messy city now, but that would improve over time.
So do you see that we are on the right track
right
now?
On the track,
although there are still a lot of things that needs to be done.
Yes, and then micro. By when I say micro, sorry, I mentioned the city planning, but I think that developers also have micro built environment. That's what developers build, the actual building, and I think that they have a role to play as well to build good quality buildings so that when 10 years later, they remain standing and it still looks nice. I think that's very, very important. And
do you apply that all the guidance and the principle and the disciplines to the Lana at Alam Sutera?
Yeah, I think so. That's our guiding principle. I think that for long-term value, if you build a building well, you invest slightly more into its construction, value will be retained. You have better quality, marble instead of ceramic tiles. 10 years later, the value will
stays.
retain. It stays. And
Okay.
that's our way of, that's our offering to our buyers.
Okay. So, Brewin Mesa with the Lana at Alam Sutera, you mentioned is going after, I mean, the project is very much on the middle up class.
Yes.
Are you going to be consistent on targeting this market, or any possibility in the future, or maybe you have already in the drawing plan to go into a mass condominium project or mass property project?
Oh, you're mentioning, you're talking about a project, the project after Alam Sutera.
Yes.
Well, I think that Alam Sutera in itself was, you know, it's a high-end project, and I think it's already a very, very big project. I think that we would never want to compete on scale. I don't think that we can. My ambitions is to compete against the bigger developers like Lippo or Agung Sedayu, but we want to be the best developer. We want to compete against them by being a good developer, delivering good quality.
More on the quality, I guess.
On the quality. So that's a big. The Lana is a big project already, and I don't think that we'll go bigger than that.
Okay.
The next thing is that we'll probably also look for a project next in the city of Jakarta rather than Jabodetabek.
Okay.
So that's probably our plan moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the Lana will be your first stop.
Exactly.
Okay. We'll be coming back. Property Smart Talk, still with me, Ronny Wuisan.